All right, Tam, this reading is for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with your cards in a second, but as by the time I got to the second card, I was hit by complete cold. So at first, maybe I had thought it was the presence we were discussing earlier was coming through again, because I did see a basket of flowers, but then, and a long-haired cat, I don't know, but it quickly switched. The cold got more intense. Then there came in something about a violin and some yarn and a biscuit in an apron pocket, but this I don't feel is the same person. She was showing me the front of what looked like a very old white church or maybe schoolhouse. I'm kind of leaning towards church because it had a really low white picket fence in front of it. She kept pointing to her eyeglasses. She had those oval shaped, very old fashioned style eyeglasses. And this being an older woman, I don't feel this is the same person as came in before. Bear with me because she sapped me for just about all my energy. I almost had to stop the read and call you and say, I just can't. She was really, really sick. I mean, really, really sick. I got instant headache, fever, feeling very weak, very nauseous. And that stayed for a good long time where I couldn't even focus. I felt so ill. So when she passed with a really bad virus or something along those lines. Really high fever, I'm going to say is what she passed from. I got really flushed in my face and I'm still feeling really, really drained from that, so bear with me. She did have white hair tied in a very tight bun to the back of her neck. When I kind of closed my eyes because my body just felt so ill, she took me to this very foggy area. You know how it gets very foggy around the mountain, and there was like this small cabin-like home, and then I kind of opened my eyes back up, and the name that she came across with, and she had a very oval-shaped face, and she was older. She was much older, very, she was aged, very sharp features, and she keeps a very serious expression, very tight. She reminds me of on the Beverly Hillbillies, the granny character there. I mean, very similar hair, glasses, and just like that stern, serious look about her. That's almost who she reminds me of, but not quite. She was more weathered, like she had worked in the sun a lot. I'm just still not feeling right, but she came across with a name. It had a hard R to it, like a Francis or a Ruth or a Rachel. There was a but I couldn't quite get it. But again, there was that cabin and that schoolhouse, and then it all went away. And as I was finishing up your cards just now, I had this strong scent. It's like, those little bath cubes? They're like made of a hard powder, and they had like that lilac scent. It reminded me a lot of that. I don't know, just throwing that out there because what came through. I don't know if any of that is going to resonate or not, but that's who popped in and why I'm just so drained at this point. Okay, so let me start your reading and the real reason why we're doing this. Okay, so the first card that I pulled is in regards to the situation that we have at hand, legal matters, and it is the Eight of Wands reverse that came through. And in this card, I cracked up when I pulled it because it does show that things are not moving fast enough. Frustration from stagnation, it represents things like missed opportunities, things, not happening in time is basically what it shows. It's like the takeaway from this card is that you know, even though you're doing your part, it's like the slow march towards progress, if that makes sense. So card number 2 that I pulled for you, card number 2 would be the World, and this represents you in this situation. It talks about that you've realized your separation is not real. You've come to a point where you realize that like your inner and outer world and yourself and others and everything are all a single entity, and like how profoundly linked everybody and everything is. So it's like the efforts that you've been putting into place with this legal situation, and you know those are going to continue to pay off. But the reason why you're feeling so appalled with everything is because of the type of person you are and your realization that we're all one, and to be treated separate and like undignified or just cruelly by others in the situation, you know, it really bothers you because you would never treat somebody else that way. But again, this is like you know, in this long, it's just a long-term project that you've been through with this, is what it is, dealing with people you can't relate to, personalities you can't relate to, you know, because you're the type of person who will always give back or think of others and has this vast amount of empathy, and you know, you want to make the world a better place, and that comes from your understanding that we're all connected, you know, that links back to that. And again, this is just why this whole situation has just been so unbelievable to you and the way it's all gone down. So card 3. Card 3 represents the other people in the situation. Again, this is another one I had to kind of laugh when I pulled it out, because this is the King of Swords, and he represents a person who is in charge or thinks that he's in charge. This would be the type of personality who runs on logic, and sometimes this card does signify like a lawyer personality, but I feel like this really shows your brother. The reasons that I feel this way is because this is the type of person who comes across lacking a lot of emotion. They kind of have like this steely resolve about them and a super strong will. The type of person that never ever relinquishes control. Has to have ultimate control over things around him. And the type of person that's only going to offer truth as they see it. So to me, this would represent your brother in this situation. Okay, so then I asked about your lawyers. Okay, this is the High Priestess card, which at first made me go, well, that's interesting. Obviously, that's going to represent a female. So again, this is what I got in regards to your lawyers. And what the High Priestess signifies are things like secrets, mystery, futures not yet revealed. To me, what I pulled out of this, and intuitively what I'm sensing, is this very much ties into the female lawyer we were discussing earlier. There was that odd connection that you told me about. And so I feel like some of the answers you have around that mystery will be revealed in time. They're just not going to be revealed to us right now. And that's what I pulled from this card. Okay. So then I asked about lessons. Lessons in this. Why are you going through this? What's the lesson in this? Because I feel like that's really important. And this card, it is showing more or less things that you're going through, or like maybe some obstacle that you've gone through, more so than lesson, but it's kind of a mixed bag. So I feel like Spirit has a message in this for you, so take it as you will. it's kind of like you've had to go through this recovery time. There's some kind of regret, and where you had to take some time to come to an acceptance about your past and realizations maybe of some implications of some actions or some lessons, like a learning period, learning from an experience and taking some time to find value. Painful experiences are awful, but we do learn a lot from them. So it seems like, taking time to see like the suffering and grief that you endured, it kind of gave you time to build strength, if that makes sense, to take all of this on with this legal situation. It kind of gave you this resilience, this fight in you where you just want to fight for the resolve. But it also gave you this strength where you've been able to advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself in ways that you haven't before in an effort to overcome these obstacles. And it's kind of like it gave you the time to do it full force. So not exactly sure if that falls into obstacle lesson, just a mix, but that's what came through with that. So card, what are we on? 6 now, card 6. Okay, so basically what I asked, and this is the card that came up for this. What I asked is, no, this is the card that came up for it. I was right the first time. Wrong position. I'm getting really tired. I'm so sorry. I asked about outcomes. I said, okay, so she's got all this going on and we know, it's taking a long time. So what is the outcome of this going to be? Because, really, that's what we want to know while we're waiting, on top of the purpose of having to wait. But what is the outcome when this all comes to an end? And the 10 of Pentacles is good news because it does show that everything you put your efforts into for this long time that you've put your efforts into it is going to pay off. It's going to have a good payoff for the future. It's going to go, fairly smooth from here on out. It suggests that, it's just going to work out well in the end. And the reason for that is because you've accepted no no's, right? Like no no's. Sounds funny when I say it. It didn't sound as funny when I was writing it down. But anyway, you kind of, kept the long-term future for yourself in perspective, and that really helped you. There's definitely going to be this period of relief when this is done. It's going to be great to have this over with because you've been through so many setbacks and so many challenges, and the end of the journey, after having gone through so much to get where you're headed to, it's just going to be sweet. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for you. So I said, okay, any obstacle stuff that she's going to need to know about, any other nonsense that's going to pop out. And what I got was the 5 of Wands in reverse. And this card, just plain and simple, just shows the end of conflict and competition. It's just the end. So that's a good thing. What can you ask for better than that? So it seems like when this is over, it's done. You're not going to have to revisit it. Nothing else is going to pop up. It's just going to be done. And then the last question that I asked is, can you tell Tam what were her lessons in this? Because I think it's always good after we've gone through, like I was saying before, a painful, hard experience to be able to reflect back and say, well, how did this make me grow as a person? So the Queen of Wands is what came up. And what she signifies is a reminder, Tam, you're just this really upbeat, full of courage and confidence type of woman. You have this determination in you. And, you're here to see through your creative visions and your life purpose. And you did all this in the face of adversity, and you're going to continue to just take things on and just be the positive, loving person that you are. So don't ever, ever, ever again be afraid, is what Spirit is telling me. To stand up in your own power, speak up for yourself, put your word out there. You have so much to offer. And your lesson in this is just, remembering to shine your light as bright as possible as you can, because we live in a really dark world, and the world just needs more people like you who can shine so bright. So the lesson in this is just to continue to believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to be heard. And remember that no one can and will ever silence you again. Your brother's never going to be able to pull this again. It's over. Just find the forgiveness if you can and just move on from this. So I love you so much. I hope this reading resonates for you. I'll do one for you live. The next time you feel like you need one, we'll do it on video chat. The way I did this one is because I really wanted to channel and pull through, and the way I channel is to write everything down. To do that on video, just it would have been really boring for you to sit and watch me on video. Plus, I didn't do makeup. I'm in my pajamas, all that good stuff. But I wanted to get advantages of doing this from home instead of in person. But I love you. I love you so much, and I'll shoot you my phone number when I send this over, so you can call me anytime. All right. Love you. Bye.